Yo, whatever, it's your boy Big J Britt coming back at you with Sports Talk with a Faith Twist, hosted to you by the JTC Exchange, reminding you if you're going to have a conversation, make it a good one. Check out the website, www.jtconthemove.org. Insert shameless plug here. Hello. All right, week one's in the books, sports fan. Week one of the NFL season is in the books, and man, was it good. You had your top two running backs. David Johnson for the Arizona Cardinals and Le'Veon Bell for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they both stunk this week. David Johnson ended up getting dislocated wrist, needs surgery, and he's going to be out 8 to 12 weeks. And Le'Veon Bell is going to come back and he's always one of the best backs in the league. He's a double threat. He's the best, arguably the best back in the league for a reason, because he can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he's got elusiveness, he's got that one-step cut speed, he can also truck. So he is an all-around threat, so I wouldn't worry about him having a bad 1 week. Sucks for Cardinal fans and people who drafted David Johnson 1 or 2 overall, because now you're down him for 8 to 12 weeks. Look for Andre Ellington or Williams to be the backups there in Arizona. Big thing, unless you're living under a rock, it was a big week for them rookie running backs. Out of the top 5 rushing leaders of the week, 3 of them were rookies. You had Kareem Hunt leading the way. You had Dalvin Cook, number 2, and Leonard Fournette, number 5. If you count Ezekiel Elliott at 4, you had 4 out of the top 5 only have 1 year in the league. That's crazy. That shows you the talent level of these guys coming out, but it also shows you, because if you have, Kareem Hunt got, people who drafted Kareem Hunt, we're talking fantasy now, people who drafted Kareem Hunt later on in their drafts got lucky that Spencer Ware got hurt. And heck, we were doing league that I run, we were doing our draft, and as we were doing our draft, Julian Edelman and Spencer Ware both went out with their torn ACLs and all that stuff, and so whoever drafted Hunt became, the sought-after guy. I actually just made a trade that to get Kareem Hunt, which could end up making me a bonehead or make me look really good, but we won't know for a few weeks. But I digress. Dalvin Cook touched the ball 22 times just on the ground for 127. That shows that Minnesota's giving him the keys and running with it. We already knew Fournette was going to be the man in Jacksonville. He touched it 26 times for 100 yards and a touchdown. Jacksonville has nobody else on offense, so that is their only threat. So it's looking really good if you got one of those 3 guys. McCaffrey, I still think is going to do well, but only if you are in a PPR league for it's points per receptions for those people who are just getting started in fantasy. As far as receivers go, obviously your Antonio Brown went for 11 for 182. Adam Thielen, 9 for 157. To go with Stephon Diggs, who went 7 for 93 and 2 touchdowns. Golden Tate, 10 for 107. Tyreek Hill, 7, 133 and a touchdown. Danny Amendola, 6 for 100. Austin Hooper had 2 for 120 and a touchdown. I'm not getting all bent out of shape about that because he had 2 receptions. That's not good. If we're talking fantasy football, even if you're talking statistically as a fan of your team, you don't want somebody only catching 2 passes. Granted, it's great that they were long passes, but he was wide open. What's the chances of him being wide open every time? So unless he's catching 5, 6, 7 balls a game, you're not really excited about that. It's a great stat line for week 1. Show me week 2, 3, 4, and 5 what he's doing. Then we'll talk. Like Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz had 8 for 93. That's what you want to see. A guy's catching 8 passes, that means they're looking his way. He's not getting in the end zone, but they're looking his way. So at least he's justifying a starting spot on your fantasy team. It's a Kareem Hunt also had 5 receptions for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. So you had Dalvin Cook, who had 22 touches. You had Leonard Fournette, who had 26 touches. If you count 17 and his 5, that's 22 touches for Kareem Hunt. I mean, they're all right there. And I told you last week that Andy Reid is notorious. He's a quarterback coach, and he loves receiving backs. Go back to Philadelphia, Brian Westbrook, LaShawn McCoy. He goes into Kansas City. He has Jamal Charles. Now he just drafted Kareem Hunt. He likes receiving backs. That's what he does. He doesn't always run the ball in situations you want him to, like a 3rd and 1, but those running backs are getting 5 to 7 receptions a game, plus whatever times they're touching the ball. You got Kareem Hunt is going to go up against Philadelphia, who has a very stout defensive line. So he may not get he's definitely not going to get the 148 yards that he got against New England, but he could rush for 60, 70, but get them same 5 or 6 receptions that he got. I don't know if we'll go 90, but then again, listen, Philly does not have tight ends, man. Or, cornerbacks. They do not have cornerbacks. The only cornerback they have was Darby, who just dislocated his ankle and is going to be out for quite a few weeks himself. So they have no cornerback. So if we can get into the 2nd, 3rd tier, he's probably going to the house. Tyreek Hill's about to have a big game. The only thing they got is Philly is going to pressure Alex Smith. He's not going to have all day to find these guys. I mean, Alex Smith looked great. His stat line's great, but he was hitting these guys in stride, in their arms. I mean, he only had 7 incompletions? 28 for 35. So even listen, people always, they played against a weak defense. If you're a good quarterback, you're a good quarterback. Stats do not lie. The numbers don't lie. He only missed 7 receptions, 7 passes. He only missed 7 of them. That's pretty doggone good for a whole game. Put in comparison, 28 for 42 for Aaron Rodgers. Now, granted, he's playing against Seattle, so you can say that. But in comparison, these guys aren't catching the ball as much as, he had more time to throw. So this week it's going to be interesting to watch Alex Smith while he's getting rushed. Do I think I think the ceiling for Alex Smith this week is 250. 250, and I'm not going to put a limit on the touchdowns because it depends on how bad that cornerbacks really play against Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Kareem Hunt. That's really going to be interesting to see. I absolutely love Tom Brady and Drew Brees this week. They're playing each other. New England's playing New Orleans. Both defenses are pretty bad right now. They may combine for 800 to 900 yards passing. They very might well. Start everybody that wears a Saints jersey. Start everybody that wears a Patriots jersey this week in your fantasy league. Zeke's playing Denver. That's going to be rough. Denver has a decent defense, but their offense isn't great. Actually, their offense played all right. It depends. If Denver goes up a couple scores, I do not like Zeke this week either. Melvin Gordon against Miami's good. McCoy against Carolina. You can't count it. LaShawn McCoy's always good. Again, see Kareem Hunt and all them other guys. He's going to get receptions if he's not getting the yardage. He's going to get 15 to 20 carries a game plus 5, 6, 7 receptions if he needs it. So he's never out of a game. Jay Ajayi comes back after having week 1 off. Play the Chargers, which I love. Like I said, Kareem Hunt against Philly. Marshawn Lynch against the Jets. Oh, my goodness, I can't wait to see that. He is going to kill anybody in a green jersey. Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, Michael Crabtree, Marshawn Lynch. Get them in your lineups this week against the Jets. Fournette against Tennessee. Got to start that for sure. Gurley, who had a great week 1 against Washington, who had a very, very lackluster week against Philadelphia. So we'll see. Ty Montgomery had a very good week 1. All the talk was Jamal Williams was going to take that job. It was Jamal Williams, the rookie, going to take that job, and Ty Montgomery came out and had a great week 1. It's going to be interesting to see if he can keep it up. Ty Montgomery, in case you don't know, is a receiver converted to running back for Green Bay. Very good week 1. DeMarco Murray against Jacksonville. Do not start him. Jacksonville played ball. last week. 10 sacks. Was in the backfield against Houston like nuts. I mean, granted, you can say Houston's offense isn't that great, but you can't fake them stats, man. They are going to do not start DeMarco Murray against Jacksonville unless you have to. Jordan Howard against Tampa Bay, you have to start Jordan Howard. Dalvin Cook against Pittsburgh is going to be tough. It's going to be his real first test. I mean, it's only week 2. Let me see what he does against a good defense who played very good last week, albeit against Cleveland. C.J. Anderson against Dallas is a must start. Lamar Miller against Cincinnati. Yeah. Now we're getting down to McCaffrey. If you're in a PPR league, definitely start him against Buffalo. So there you are with that. We're going to go to receivers real quick, and I'm going to wrap this up. Obviously, Julio Jones played. We're looking at him against Green Bay. Antonio Brown, you start no matter what. I don't care. I mean, you got your mainstays. Jones, Antonio Brown, Jordy Nelson, Mike Evans. Definitely starting. Brandon Cooks only had 3 receptions, but for 88 yards last week against a very good Kansas City defense. They are playing against New Orleans, whose defense is atrocious. And I just told you, I think Brady's going to throw for 400. So you need to get Brandon Cooks in your lineup if you own him. If you don't feel too comfortable, flex play, whatever. But Brandon Cooks, if he's going to have a huge game, it's this game against his old team, showing them you should have never traded me. You're fools. A.J. Green, you're going to start Amari Cooper, like I just said. It's going to be a must start against the Jets. Michael Thomas, absolute start against New England. Odell Beckham makes his first start against Detroit. Should be good for him. Tyreek Hill against Philadelphia. Again, that depends on how much pressure they're getting on Alex Smith. Alex Smith is going to be pressured constantly. He's going to need to get rid of the ball quickly, but Andy Reid is very good at the West Coast offense. That is his offense. He is this generation's Bill Walsh. He runs a very, very solid West Coast offense. Where Andy Reid lacks is when somebody figures his offense out. He's not good at changing it at halftime. He sticks with it. He goes down with the ship, and that's why it's frustrating as a fan sometimes because you're like, just call a different play, doggone it. But Terrell Pryor, who had 6 receptions for 66 yards but did not look that good. For anybody who watched that game, dropped a wide-open touchdown pass. But granted, it would have got called back because of a holding, but still dropped it. He was wide open, and it didn't even look like he cared. It was like, So I don't know where Washington's at, man. They look like they might be in a downfall. You got Michael Crabtree again. Keenan Allen against Miami. Definitely start him. And the big thing with Keenan Allen, I love Keenan Allen this year if he can stay healthy. We know he has injury issues. I'm hoping he stays healthy because he was in that trade I was telling you about earlier. Demaryius Thomas against Dallas, I love. It all depends on Simeon if they can hit him. Stephon Diggs is not going to have the day he had, but we're gonna see. This is going to be a week where you're going to see a lot of things are going to get jockeyed. You start your starters. Like I said, I love guys like Sammy Watkins. Look for him to have a game against Washington. Devontae Parker against the Chargers, I like. Deshaun Jackson, could he have a good game? The problem with Deshaun Jackson is he's only a deep threat. Be interesting. We don't know how Tampa Bay is going to use him. It'd be very interesting to see. I would look out for that big time. Stay away from anybody who's wearing a Colts jersey because that quarterback is horrible. Thielen against Pittsburgh, I'd probably stay away from that. I know he had a great week 1, but I would wait to see what he's going to do for second week. Crowder, they barely even looked his way against Philly, and they're playing against a Rams offense that is played very good defense. Granted, it was against the Colts, so it'll be interesting to see what they do against Washington. Cooper Kupp. You want to talk about a sleeper pickup if you haven't drafted him late. He looked good. Jared Goff looked his way. He was reliable, and we know about young quarterbacks when they find somebody they like, they usually stick to them. So keep an eye out for Cooper Kupp. against Washington this week. Be interesting to see what Brandon Marshall can do now that Odell Beckham is back. He won't maybe have a few receptions, maybe. And Corey Davis. Corey Davis, the young, arguably the best rookie coming out this year, receiver for Tennessee, but plays against them Jacksonville Jaguars, who, again, kind of like what I said about Philly and Alex Smith, Jacksonville's going to be getting at Mariota, and be interesting to see about the timing and if they're going to be able to get the ball down the field or not. We know that Jacksonville's offense is pretty bad other than Leonard Fournette, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do as far as keeping Jacksonville's defense off keel. Kenny Golladay against the Giants. We'll see if he can have. He had 4 receptions, 2 of them were for touchdowns. You can't expect that to happen every week, but if you can pull in 4 to 7 receptions a game, you're a good fantasy receiver, especially PPR formats. Nelson Aguilar actually had a good game. As a Philly fan, I'd tell you to hold back on that, see what he does, because if you remember last year against Cleveland week 1, he looked good too, had a touchdown, and then he went right back to his retarded, I don't know how to play football ways. So I would hold back on that. So that's really it, what I got for you right now. Good luck in your week 2 in fantasy football. Good luck for all your fan bases out there. I look for a lot of stuff to come back down to earth. It'd be interesting to see about the rookie running backs, what they can do. I would look for McCaffrey to get more involved in Carolina's, because Cam Newton was having so bad of a day getting the ball down the field. They might start checking down a lot more, so that's good for McCaffrey. Obviously, Dalvin Cook against Pittsburgh. We're going to see what that looks like. Kareem Hunt against Philly, and Leonard Fournette against Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have that bad of a defense at all, so it'll be interesting to see what they look like. And like I said, you got Tariq Cohen in Chicago, who's a big pickup. Your number 1 pickup this week by far is Tariq Cohen. Your second is going to be Carson out of Seattle. He's Thomas Rawls can't stay healthy. He's supposed to be the starter in week 2. Thomas Rawls coming back from injury, but as soon as he stumps his toe again, Carson's going to be the starter. If Eddie Lacy's on your team, get rid of him. I drafted him in 2 of my leagues this year, hoping that maybe he would be the starter because Rawls is hurt. He's dropped in both of my leagues now after 1 week. That was atrocious. It was a waste of picks, a waste of everything on my part. And if you picked him too, he owes us all an apology because he's a waste. So, listen, good luck. Love to hear about you. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about anything I said, about your fantasy updates, about your team, who you like, who you love, who you think is going to have a great week 2. Again, start all your Patriots, start all your Saints, start all your Raiders. Those are the big ones I can think off the top of my head. That's going to be great games for those guys. So, again, it's your boy Big J Britt reminding you, check out the website, www.jtconthemove.org. And I'm reminding you, if you're going to have a conversation, make it a good one. Deuces.